All right.
What is up?
You weren't paying attention when we went live. You
I-
were just looking at something else.
I'm looking at the cockpit of this live stream setup, and sometimes, it's because all the Instagram lives are 5 seconds behind, and so it's I think countdown still.
Yeah. Well,
Here we
I'm
are.
just a passenger on the plane. I really just sit there going, "How come we're not flying yet?" You know, complaining like all other passengers when they're not taking off right on time. You know.
Yeah, I always think about that, and I'm like, I got to ask somebody who actually knows this stuff, a pilot, a flight attendant. Like, there's how much of a window do you have that you can make up in the air? Because I guarantee you that, like, if a flight takes 4 hours they say it takes 4 hours, it can probably take like 3.2 hours, but they're not going to tell you that because they're going to make up that time in the air.
Well, it's like in a car, right? The speed limit is 65, and the car can go to like 80, 90. It's like, can't you just push the gas a little bit more?
That's true. That's why, like, when we leave 10 minutes late, I'm like, we're still going to get in early or on time or whatever.
Yeah.
Once you hit like 30, once they actually get on the thing and say like there's a mechanical failure, that's when it's actually going to get delayed.
Yeah, I mean, basically they just check Google Maps up there and they're like, okay, it's real time. But
what's
let's tell
everybody
else
like?
It's going to be 5 minutes because there might be a traffic jam in the air.
There might be a cop that I have to say is still there or is not still there.
Right, it's still there. Which is actually, if you think about it, kind of a dangerous thing that Google put in.
It's basically Waze created it, and Google's like, we're going to do that now too. And I'm like, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but like I will sit there and I'm looking at the map on my phone on the screen, and then I'm driving on the 101, and it's not exactly, sparse traffic. I mean, it's full of traffic. Yeah. And it's like, is the debris in the road still there? Hold on, let me look around and let me go and find and hit this button.
Yeah. No, I understand.
It feels like saying. Google contributes to the problems in that sense.
What I didn't know if you were talking about, hey, there's a cop coming up, and everybody knows now, so everybody plays it safe, which has been happening for decades because of the old like radio that people use, the scanner, the cop scanner. Now everybody's got a cop scanner, so everybody knows where everything is. But no, you're right, because many a times have I looked for the button, and then there's a countdown, so then there's like pressure, like, I don't need to do this, but like it makes me feel like I need to do this.
Yeah.
And I have definitely looked at my phone longer to hit that button than like reading a text.
Yeah, I was like, this is just as bad as texting. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
Anyway, all right, pretty good. I'm
Are we doing a weather check? What's a weather check?
Every time I look to the right, as a weather check. Because the weather affects how I'm doing most days. It is very clear and sunny right now, which is great.
Good.
But also, apparently, there's a big storm coming or something. Also, I have remembered now, after being in Ohio for a little bit, that when it is cloudy, it tends to be warmer. When it is not cloudy, it tends to be cold as hell.
There's no blanket. There's no blanket.
There's no coverage.
Yeah.
So it is we will get a I think -8 on Saturday or something.
No, thank
a high of 9 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So yeah. Anyway. We'll figure it out.
All right.
How are you doing? Real quick.
Fine. Yeah, fine. I mean, look, I'm tired. I'm a little sluggish today, and that's because I had honestly 2 margaritas last night, and I'm not supposed to drink margaritas. I'm not supposed to have bad shit, And there's times when I'm like, you gotta decide. You're trying to be perfect in nutrition and like save your life, or you're trying to live your life. Like, where's that fine line, right?
Yeah.
And last night I chose that I just wanted to live a little bit, and it was fantastic. I had a fantastic time. But even those 2, right? And then I threw a little cinnamon toast crunch on it on top, not on the margarita, but afterwards.
Yeah.
And so today I feel a little sluggish, and I'm like, that's what you get.
Yeah,
that's what you get.
You knew the price you would pay a little bit.
Tony knows what's up. He had pizza yesterday, he's paying for it. Yeah. So I woke up asking myself, I go, was it worth it? I go, in the moment, it definitely was. It was awesome. But
this comes back to our old name for this live stream, the sustainable YOLO. Yeah. How do you sustain? So you YOLO'd last night.
I YOLO'd last night, yeah.
And it's not as sustainable as eating healthy and feeling good every day, but eating healthy and feeling good every day is not YOLOing.
Yeah.
So you're like, what? I'm
Like
rocking hard.
well, and then this morning I was talking to Stacy about it. I was like, hey, you know who I'm thinking about today? Cristiano Ronaldo.
What?
I go, that dude is so ripped. And she goes, yep, you're not lying. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, he doesn't take a sip of anything bad.
Yeah.
We're talking not even his kid asked him for a Coke once and he goes, you can destroy yourself if you want.
You know, there's a purpose behind that. I mean,
Yeah.
you aren't playing for a professional soccer team.
I am playing for my
I don't know.
life, so you think that maybe.
Yeah, you can say that.
But how much does it really? Anyway,
Yes.
this is a whole nother debate. We're not going down this.
That's a
rabbit
live
hole.
stream. That's like a couple live streams for the
Yeah,
future.
it's like I try to be perfect on nutrition, and it made things worse.
yes.
It was when I loosened up and realized that what nutrition and working out wasn't going to save me. That's when I realized, it's okay. Actually,
It's the
living
line
life
between
a little better. Yeah,
the physiology versus the mental burden is the balance. So.
which is actually a perfect segue because of what we're talking about.
Yeah. So now that we're 7 minutes in, talking about nothing that this is titled. Here we go. This is live stream, I think, number 8 of a show we call Breakthroughs Live. How to get the breakthrough before something breaks you. The quick summary is Chad got diagnosed with cancer 3.5 years ago. He's still dealing with it. I had 3 strokes when I was 30 years old. Not dealing with it as much, but it has changed how I live my life. The common theme is both of those things happen not through obvious ways. They happen through probably a pileup of mental stressors that were happening in the background that we did not know were happening. This live stream and everything about it is about taking one of those things that pile up that everybody feels, but they don't know how to quite describe. And we try to get a breakthrough on how to get through that before something bad happens to you. Again, the phrase is how to get a breakthrough before something breaks you. So we're trying to take that experience and impart that on other people and help them get a breakthrough live, preferably.
And most of the time we get the breakthroughs. So hopefully somebody's ready to be like, yo, I'm in.
Yeah. If you've got something you need a breakthrough on, let us know. Because right now it's live stream 8. We're doing our own breakthroughs that probably relate, but we'd love to help other people as well. Today's topic is generally about this. Today's topic is about for people who feel like life is flying by them, like time is moving too fast and you feel like you're wasting your years and you don't know why. And so today we're going to try to tackle that. The question I asked myself was, if someone gave me $1 million to remember what happened last Tuesday, could I do it? And I'm aware of this situation and I still can't remember last Tuesday. A better question is probably like, could you remember what happened last year? Like, or how many things from last year could you remember? And for some people, everything was great and they loved what happened last year. And other people, if you are someone like us, where you're like, I have ambitions for my life, or I want to maximize my time here on Earth. If you can't remember really anything that happened last year, then it's almost like a sign or a flag that is saying you need some novelty in your life. So that is the topic.
Well, I think what the way that people would, the hamster wheel concept, if you want to put a thought into it, it's like, do you feel like you're on a hamster wheel?
Yeah.
I used to have this photo on my Facebook profile a long time ago, and I left it there for a long time. And it said, only a rat can win a rat race.
I remember that. Yeah.
Stacy hated that one. She was like, when are you going to change that? I go, I don't know. It seems pretty good. So the question is, do you feel like you're in the rat race? Do you feel like you're on a hamster wheel? Right. And that's usually the indicator. Like that's what time's flying by, but what's happening, Yeah. So why is time flying by?
Yeah. So, that's a good,
why am I feeling this way?
I kind of always feel, I kind of forget in these live streams, like paint the picture first. And you kind of just painted it. that's like the easiest analogy, right? That people recognize. Like, I feel like I'm on a hamster wheel and time is flying by. And so I'm like, okay, well, what pain, like how does that feel emotionally? And that is one thing that builds up in the background, as we talked about in the intro, like it's almost a regret. Like so I'll speak for myself. There was a point probably in my late 20s where I was like, I don't know, is this my peak life? Like, this is like when I should be hitting the peak. I should be maximizing my full potential, my superpowers, my skills, my experience, all of this stuff. And I should be maximizing the time here on planet Earth. And then a year would go by and I just like, I was like, did I make progress on that? And sometimes it's because I don't know what I'm trying to make progress on. But I would have this pain where I was like, I feel like the year 27 in my life, I don't even know what happened. Like, did I just waste the year of 27? And then it would continue 28, 29, 30, 31, 30. And then when I was 30, I had strokes. And then I was very aware of what was happening. And so, yeah, I think that's the pain that can build up internally with people, because this is not something you go talk to your friends or your family like, hey, or your therapist even, right? Maybe, I don't know. And you're just like, I don't know, I feel like time is flying by. That's just not something you bring up lightly in conversation, but it is something that builds up internally. So I guess that's how I would paint the picture.
Right. And so if you actually look at it from we'll call it the neuroscience perspective, right? The reason it happens is because the brain is designed to be efficient. Mm-hmm. It's designed this way. It's like we talked about, it's a feature, not a bug. It's actually designed to make your life easier so that you don't have to deploy all your attention all the time to the same things over and over. Like, think about this when you go to the office, when you drive to work. Mm-hmm. It's typically the same route every single day, and you can do it without even knowing you're doing it. That's because the brain is designed for that. Meaning, the first time you drove to work, you're using the neocortex to think through what's happening. The limbic brain, I don't need to get all this, but the limbic brain actually creates the memory of it so that you remember how to do it the next time. And then you do it enough times, the cerebellum kicks in, and now all of a sudden you have repetition so strong that you could drive to work without even realizing you drove to work.
Can I tell you an anecdote that is exactly what you just described?
Yeah.
I think I did it for a Tiny Risk video, but not here. But when I was 26 or 7, I was driving to work. And I remember there was like a moment where I was like sitting at my chair at work. And I was like, how the hell did I get here? Like, I could not compute from my door to my chair at work. I was like, I don't know if I remember how I drove here in a car. And I was like, is this unique? Is this weird? I didn't know. And then, over the course of a couple of weeks, I realized, like, I don't think I'm remembering how I'm getting here. And so I was nervous that I wasn't like conscious while I was driving, sort of situation. And I was like, I don't know what this means. I went to a doctor and I was like, hey, this is happening. And they did all these, like, they did all the scans and the, what's it called? The ECG.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Encephalogram
check
for the brain.
In checking my brain, or everything good to go. And they're like, yeah, everything's fine. Like, and I was like, what the? I didn't realize until later when I read books on the brain after strokes and all this stuff, it was literally my brain doing an incredible job at its job. It was saying, you drive this same route every day. Yeah, I'm aware when like there's a traffic light. I'm not like running through lights and like crashing into people. It is like, you don't need to think about this though, because it's so dialed in. You take the same street, the same place, the same time over and over and over. And just like you've heard a song 1,000 times, it is in your brain locked in, and you don't need to think about the words or the melody. It just exists.
Yeah. Like you said, it's designed to do that so that you can bring in more information. Like, once it gets a new piece of information, it puts it in the background and automates it so that you can bring more in.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a design. It's a
feature, not a bug.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a beautiful design, but it becomes problematic once you become aware that all of a sudden, I don't even know how I got here.
Yeah.
Right. And that means this is where the quintessential, what do they call it? Midlife crisis
Mm-hmm.
happens, right? Because
Yeah.
all of a sudden, midlife crisis happened. You're like, where did the last 20 years go? It's
Mm-hmm.
because your brain was so efficient that you forgot to feed it the new information to keep it creating new memories. That's essentially what we're getting at.
Yeah. It is when we say like your brain has one main job and it's to keep you alive. And the best way to keep you alive is to be efficient at survival things or the things that you do on repeat.
Mhm.
It gets very good at that's neuroplasticity in a nutshell. Whatever you do over and over and over, it's going to form neural connections so that it's easy to do that over and over and over and over again. So the problem lies in this. Your brain's job is to keep you alive for as long as possible in the most efficient way. Now, if you live, it's not really connected with what your soul wants, right? Like your emotions.
Right.
It is saying, it'll pat itself on the back if it coasts you all the way until you die. Like that is what the brain's job is to do. Like, I'm going to keep going. And if I can do this for 100 years and you don't even have to think about what you're doing, then my job is complete.
Mm-hmm.
The problem becomes most people, maybe 100% of people are like, I don't want that for my life. I actually want to maximize the full experience of my life here on Earth. And that goes against the grain of what the brain is trying to do. So that the awareness of that conflict is what we're talking about here. And then it's like, what do we do with that information now?
Yeah, I think on this because I come back to this, the two brains. There's obviously multiple parts of the brain, but the limbic brain is the emotional part of the brain. The cerebellum is the automation. Okay. The neocortex is where you come up with all you design and you do all that stuff. But the limbic brain with the emotion part, everybody has different levels of emotion, right? There are some people who are so routine oriented and very calculated that they seem emotionless, right? That's on the outside. But I will tell you that regardless of how routine oriented and how emotionless somebody looks, there is emotion on the inside purely because of the limbic brain, right? Meaning they too, the person who looks emotionless, they too create memories and things they want to feel. It's just different levels of that feeling. But the problem is when we stop creating new memories so that the limbic brain can actually attach that newness and that emotion, that chemical emotion to it, again, regardless of how external the emotion is, the less you do that, the more the cerebellum will take over, you automate your life, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the hell did I just do? Right? What did I just do? Like, what am I doing with this? And so people, this is why the midlife crisis happens to many people. It's because they're like, the simple answer is this: they're not creating enough novelty in their life to help that part of the brain create new memories to say, wow, I just experienced a cool part of life, and now I have a memory. The problem is now you just go to work, you take the same route, you get up at the same time every day, you turn the coffee maker on the same way, you take a piss the same way, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're automating our lives so that, everything in our environment too, society and every ad you see is about automating your life to make it easier and simpler. So taking less work off of the brain.
Self-driving cars.
The more work that is required of the brain to pay attention, it doesn't want to do that, but that is what is a novel moment. That is a memory that is like, oh, that's new. And I need to like hang on to this. I need to record this as something because I have to do work all of a sudden. Yeah. I'd say the antidote that kind of transitions into like okay, well, how do you create this novelty stuff? When I couldn't remember where I was driving to work, the same work experience, I had one friend there that was like, it was like my closest co-working friend. And I had quit this job, I think 2 times by this point. And they kept bringing me back because and they're like, we'll just pay you a little bit more. And I was like 26. So I was like, cool, that sounds incredible. And they're like, you can go travel whenever you want. And I was like, man, you're just setting it up for me to say yes very easily. And I kept quitting. And my friend there at work was like, why do you keep quitting this job? They're paying you a little more. They're letting you go do whatever you want, take 3 weeks off, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I was like, listen, my issue is that in the 2 to 3 years I've worked here, I cannot remember what has happened in the last 2 to 3 years. The only thing I remember is a pub crawl and a Christmas party. Because why? Those were novel events within the work calendar because something different happened during that day. And again, at the time, I didn't really realize it, but that's what we're talking about now, which is I was so frustrated that I felt like I was wasting my time. And this work experience was so comfortable and easy that it was hard to quit, because comfortable and easy is a very tempting thing to do. But then if you become aware of this could be your entire life for the next 60, 70, 80 years, then you get real self-reflective real quick. You're like, is this what I want? So the question is, what we're saying here is novel moments in time is what requires your brain to pay attention and act, and does all of the neurochemical things to create a memory. And when a memory is created, I always think about it on this long line. If this is your life, I don't know what people can see. Here's your life. In the beginning, when you're a child, and every day is novel. You have no idea what's going on. So every day is new and extreme. And I always think about this. I was like, when you were a kid in like 3rd grade at school, the day felt like it took forever. And I remember, I talked to our nephew and nieces, and they like don't even have a concept of time. That some of them do now, but like 3 years ago, they were like, I don't know what Friday even means. I don't know what an hour, like what that entails. And I was like, hey, I'll see you like in a month from now. And they're like, that's forever. And I was like, I don't know. That seems pretty quick. I'm excited to see you in a month. And they're like devastated. And so I always think about this, like up until you choose a career path and life gets very streamlined, time moves very slowly. But the older you get and the more decisions you kind of make more final, your brain gets really efficient at those things. You do the same job for 40 plus years, then you retire and then you do nothing. Your brain is not challenged anymore. And so then you hit this midlife crisis and you're in your 30s and 40s, 50s, and you got very good at one thing. And now if you look at this timeline, there's a lot of like clusters of memories on this timeline early on, and then they start spacing out a lot because you got very good at these things. And you aren't creating novel moments. And so therefore there's no memory. And if there's no memory, the perception of time feels like it's flying. The last thing I'll leave with you, because I just talked a lot because I just had a lot of coffee, is this. There's a book called Moonwalking with Einstein. It's about memories. It's actually really cool. I suggest checking it out. Joshua Foer is the author. And he has this line where he says, monotony collapses time, novelty unfolds it. And that one line sticks with me to this day because it describes exactly everything we just talked about in these stories. So then the question becomes, how do you create more novelty?
Yeah. So I will say that the hard part here, right, is you can't create novelty all the time, right? Mm-hmm. You actually need routine. You need routine, but you have to understand and you have to become aware. And there's many ways to become aware. Hopefully just this conversation makes you aware right now, right? Is that you have to install the novel moments. And so when I think about novel moments, they can be very simple, right? Very simple. You just got to show the brain that there's a different moment that forces it to change its wiring process because it needs to do that. One of them is as simple as take a different route to work today or tomorrow. Just take a different route. Instead of making the left out of your driveway, make a right out of your driveway and see what the heck happens, right? Mm-hmm. You might find yourself back on the normal route, but I would say just take it. That's one way. But the other thing is I think about something that happened to a friend of mine, right? One of my best friends. He literally said to me on the phone, he goes, he was talking about what he wanted for 2026 and like all these things. Because I had this experience with my daughter. We went through the car wash and she's like, I think she's 6 years old. Went through the car wash and she was just elated. She was laughing because it was just creating so much chaos on the car. And she was just laughing, just going nuts. And he goes, it was so fun to watch. And he goes, I just think in 2026, I want to have more childlike experiences. And then he proceeds to tell me, so then I get out of the car wash and, she goes, can we do it again? Can we do it again? And he's like, nah, it's like, I just didn't want to pay $10 to do it again. And, but I was cool. And I sent him a message back and I go, bro, I'm kind of joking here, but I'm not joking really at all. Like, you literally just said you wanted to have more childlike experiences. Pay the $10 and do it again. Like, by the way, money's not a thing. He's smart with money, but almost you grow up in the Midwest where it's like, and I'm not saying it's just the Midwest, but you really think about how money is. But he doesn't have to be like that anymore. That's another live stream, a habit around money. Mm-hmm. And I literally was like, that $10 is so worth seeing your daughter do that again, because you just created novel experiences for both of you, right? Mm-hmm. But the $10 got in the way. And I was like, next time, just do it, and I'll Venmo you the $10, buddy. I want you to have that experience. And you know what? I'm allowed to say that shit now. I'm allowed to tell you, because guess what? I don't know how much time I have. 60 days, 60 years. I believe I have 60 years. But my God, now that I saw the cliff at one point, and I'm like, dude, I will take every novel experience I can get. It is actually really hard for me, to be honest, because I need routine to make things happen. But I want so many novel experiences that I wish I had focused on early on. I did pretty well. Like, we did the boat race. We do things that most people don't.
Yeah, do. It's a sliding scale. It depends on what, like, I'd say you and I are in a top 1% of people who want to maximize every experience on planet Earth. Yeah. I don't think everybody is like that. They want some, but they don't need the extreme amount. And I think you and I are like, I want to try that. I want to experience that, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So the gap between what we have done and what we want to do is bigger, or it feels bigger, right?
Yeah. And the other thing is like, it comes down to people have kids and they can't do these things. And like, I don't have kids. And so it makes it a little easier, right? I have other things I have to deal with but you can have those novel experiences in the moments with your kids, like the example I just gave,
I mean, we just were at Disney World with our nephew and nieces. Nibblings, by the way. Someone gave me that word. Never heard about it. I was like, it's so much easier than saying nephew and nieces. It's like,
it's so easy.
My nibblings, our nibblings. We were at Disney World, and I was like, you and I, like, we're not there for us. We went, I don't know, I guess when we were really young, I don't even remember. Yeah. But I was like, I'm there to watch them have the experience for the first time, because it's novel for them. It is very exciting. There's all this new stuff, and it's a cool experience. And I get excited because they're excited. It's the same thing. I was just there for the holidays. Like, I don't care about getting gifts. I care about giving it and seeing like them light up. Like, it's a new experience. So yeah, I guess it comes back to this awareness factor over and over and over again. Always. And this idea of sustainable YOLO. We need the routine because we are responsible adults and we need to pay for where we live. Like things have to exist. You can't just be doing novel experiences every day, because you'll probably be homeless within 2 months, because it takes time and money away from all the things that pay for the thing, your car or your house or your job, all the stuff. It's all a cycle. So the whole idea is, how do you balance routine, which is necessary to not feel extremely either stressed out or like you've ruined your life? Because, midlife crisis, the traditional like picture that people paint is like people like, I left my family and I bought a Porsche and I'm driving a car. And I was like, that's sort of like the classic like picture. And that can be a life-destroying event. It could be catastrophic, not just for the person, but everybody involved. You're ripping a Band-Aid so dramatically that things fall apart. So that whole sustainable YOLO, which we've talked about, is like, how do you get the feeling that novelty provides without blowing up your entire life in order to do it? And like you said, like, it can be on a day, like a micro basis, on a day-to-day basis, where you're like, just do something different. We're not saying quit your job to have a novel experience. Just do something at your job differently, or drive to your job differently. Every novel experience creates more pathways for other novel things to happen. For example, if you walked to work, you live in a city and you walk to work, or you take a train or something, but you take a different route or you take a different train, you can bump into other people or other events or other things that create new pathways that you can't predict right now. But those pathways don't exist unless you did that new thing.
Yeah. And here's the hard part, though. People are going to be like, but I got to get to work so I can get paid, so I can pay for my house, so I can take it. I got to be on time. And it's just this nonstop, like, and we all do it, but you got to be aware and just try it. Just try something new. Like, I don't know. I can't remember who you said one of your friends tried, like, not ballet, or I don't remember.
Yeah.
He tried a new dance. He's like, I'm just going to try this. And like, it just was something new to try. I don't know how many times he did it, but just doing it 2 or 3
times. An 8-week course. He did it.
And that's it.
And I think it comes back to, again, when I say Tiny Risk, that's another project. It's all very involved. It's the same idea on different scales as Supply Run, as Breakthroughs Live, Tiny Risk. But a lot of the reason people don't do these novel experiences or plan for them, that's essentially what we're saying is, can you inject moments of novelty into your life? So first you have to be aware that that is why time feels like it's flying. Then you're like, okay, novel moments will create memories, which logs in my brain and slows the perception of time down again and creates other pathways in the world and all this stuff. But like, I think the reason people don't, like, okay, well, how do I do that? Well, it is trying stuff. It's like, it's fathoing, right? And the problem is people don't like to try things or do new things if there is no guaranteed result of how that will turn out, because we are risk averse people. Our brain doesn't like risk. It does. It doesn't. It's autopilot mode. It doesn't like risk. Then we do something and then it lights up and it's all excited, right? So we have to plant moments of novelty, which includes some feeling of risk in the sense that, like, oh, you could fail at that thing, or it might be a little uncomfortable. Like it could, there's a wide spectrum. And you have to be comfortable with not knowing how it's going to turn out. And that is why I think many people don't do novel things or plan or inject novel things into their life, because there's a potential for it not to go as well as they had hoped. So they need to like pre-accept that there's downside and upside to the novelty. Yeah. And if you can get through that, then you can have novelty.
and honestly, this is because the brain is so efficient, but it's literally this, it's two sides of the same coin, and it doesn't know which side. You gotta understand how to flip it. That's it. You know, oh man, there's so much more we could talk about it, but we got to finish this one up. So how does this apply to Supply Run? I couldn't even say it right. How does this apply to Supply Run?
I think Supply Run is, I mean, this is the perfect, Supply Run is the most novel thing that we have ever injected into our own lives, let alone other people's. Yeah. It is Supply Run is a perfect microcosm of how to slow time down, if that is a thing you are concerned about. Because it is 3 weeks where from the moment you wake up, the moment you get on the plane to go to the place, the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep every day, it is 24/7 or 12 hours or 24 hours, 12 hours of extremely novel moments all the time. And so your brain is on fire. It is like nothing is autopilot anymore. I don't even know how to live in this situation. So like a child, I have to learn and understand and use all of my resources to figure out what to do next. Mm-hmm. Whether that is getting a coffee in the morning from a place that doesn't know how you like your coffee, and you have to figure out how to go through a language barrier to get it a certain way, or they don't know how to do it and you have to drink a new coffee today. Novelty right there. Like this is just how it's made here. So deal with it. And then to like talking to a stranger and trying to figure out a supply item. How do we get this? How do we get it from point A to point B? It is just challenge after challenge, which is the most novel. It's just a jam-packed novelty for 3 weeks. Yeah.
And it's funny because novelty slows down time, but after the 3 weeks, it was so novel. You're like, where'd the time go? Because it was almost like created the opposite effect.
Well,
You
I
know?
think this is a common thing with a lot of people. Like during the moment, it feels very slow, and then you
Yes.
look back and you're like, "What happened?" Because
Yes.
I remember on day like the second week, I felt like we had been there for a year. Like everything was so jam packed,
Yeah.
and then the moment you get back is when you look back, you're like, "That was like gone in an
Did that
instant."
just happen?
Yeah. So like,
Yeah, but
and
you're alive. You're alive. Everybody talks about this whole present moment shit.
Mhm.
Everybody talks, oh, I just gotta be present. You can't get more ambiguous and less descriptive than just be present.
No one tells you
Okay,
how
what
to
does
be
that
present.
mean?
Yeah.
Well, you have
What does it
to
feel like?
induce that. You have to induce that. Like going back to my friend watching his daughter getting stoked in the car. That was presence. He was
Mhm.
literally present. Supply run every single day. You have to be present. It's almost exhausting how present you have to be.
Here is a great example of that, and I agree. When my description of presence, because again, it's a very fluffy, it's hard to pin down type of word, but people like know what you're talking about, but they don't know how to describe it. When I am present, I am not thinking about tomorrow, and I'm not thinking about yesterday.
That's
I
right.
can't. I don't have the ability to think about those things because there's something that is requiring me to pay attention to right now in this present moment. And when you're on supply run, I am the most present I have ever been in my life. Like literally, well, what's interesting is this: in those first 3 to 4 days, specifically about you, all of us felt it, but you obviously were dealing with your health stuff from the jump, and you were very concerned about like, can I eat this food? I need to get more sleep. I need to do this. I need to do that. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to control this environment enough to be able to do those things. But like your brain was still, and my brain was, and JD, he was constantly thinking about his wife and his son back home. Like I was attached to the job I was doing at the time. And so like, we're trying to do these things in Nepal, and all three of us, for one reason or another, are on a different place in our heads. Like we are back home trying to like sort out problems.
It's called mental time travel.
Yeah. And then by day, I'd say it took about 5 days, 4 or 5 days or 6 days. We were on the train in India. And I think that was the first time that we were not in the future or the past. We were just right there in the moment being like, what do we got to do? Like, we got to figure this out. We got to figure this out. And all the other stuff, it's not like we didn't care about it. It's just our brain's resources were only focused on now. And when you're focused on now, time gets very slow because you were like, it's like looking at a clock and you watch the second hand tick by. If you're watching it, it feels very slow. If you're in autopilot and you're thinking about the future or the past, you're not paying attention to time. So it's just flying by. Oh man, we could do like 4 live streams on this shit.
Oh yeah. And we will at some point.
We probably will.
It'll get better. But all right, good time to wrap it up. You're better at this than I am. So why don't you tell everybody what we're doing here?
We still make it up a little bit. I guess the first thing is if you watch this live or recorded or whatever, leave a comment. No matter what platform you're watching this on, leave a comment, and I'll ask this question: if I gave you $1 million to remember or describe what happened last year, how many things could you remember? Is it maybe a good question? Like, could you count it on?
A good one. How many moments can you remember? Like, I want to know, can you get, for $1 million, can you get to 100 moments?
There you go. That's what it is.
It's in like a period of time.
Yeah.
Because you can find 100 moments if you sat down for like 3 hours, but can you find 100 moments within 10 minutes for that $1 million? Yeah.
There you go. And it's just sort of a thought experiment, right?
Yeah.
To say like, did time fly by so fast last year that I don't even remember what happened? Or was there enough novelty throughout my year that I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. And then we tried this and we went on this thing and then we created this and I built this new thing, whatever it might be. So that's the question. And then if you are at all interested about this idea of Supply Run, which we've talked about and is hosted on this YouTube channel called Supply Run, that is the show that we are building and working on and have done a pilot season of. If you're interested in watching it, you can find it at youtube.com/@SupplyRun. It's in the description link. If you're interested in being a courier, you want to come on the next Supply Run, this all sounds up your alley and you want to take a bigger leap than just taking a new drive to work, you want to mess yourself up a little bit, like, and go for 3 weeks of full novelty, you can go to supplyrunshow.com and there's a button to apply as a courier for when that time comes. Yeah, and I think that's about it.
Big gulps, huh?
Well, see you later.
I didn't know if you were gonna do it. I know.
I was like, if I'm doing the outro, then I was like,
I
I'm
should
just gonna
probably do. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
All
right.
Well,
See you.
Yeah.